May the 4th be with you.
Hello there.
Welcome gamers to this week's vlog. Now it probably won't come as a surprise to any of you considering my username that I'm a huge Star Wars fan. And with today being May the 4th, Star Wars Day, I will probably be spending this afternoon and most of the evening watching Star Wars films. But this week I've been playing a Star Wars game. So let's have a quick look at what game that is and what trophies I've been earning. It's Monday morning and on Friday evening I completed the story for LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens, which only left me at about 20% overall game completion. I luckily got a trophy after midnight that counted towards my daily streak on the Saturday, because I didn't get a chance to play at all after that on the Saturday. However, on Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening, I managed to pick the game up again and continue playing, and I got it to just over 35% completion. So I'm going to play again today and see how much I can raise that before I have my zombies co-op session this evening. It's Tuesday morning now, and last night we had our weekly co-op session on Call of Duty Zombies. We're currently playing through Advanced Warfare on PS4, and we have one trophy left on the DLC number 4, which is a completely different type of mode to all the previous, so it takes a bit of getting used to, and it's the hardest trophy of the whole game. So last night, although we didn't get the trophy, we learned some valuable lessons in trying to deal with this specific mode, so we can get a good strategy for hopefully getting it either next week or very soon. Also, before the session last night, I was playing some more LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens as I slowly try to work towards getting the Platinum set up for Sunday. Currently up to 43.7% completion within the game, so almost halfway. So let's see where I can get to on that by the rest of today. Good morning gamers, it's now Wednesday, and last night I had a very successful session on LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens. I managed to get the completion percentage up to 68%, so that's a 25% increase in last night's session. I've completed all of the various free roam planets now and got a whole bunch of collectibles knocked out. Next step is to replay all of the various story missions again to then pick up all of the different collectibles that were not obtainable during the first playthrough because you didn't have the correct characters to be able to unlock them. And then once that's done, it's just going to be the final cleanup. So fingers crossed I can get very close to having the Platinum ready in tonight's session. Let's see how I get on. It's Thursday evening now. Yesterday and this evening I continued to play LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens, and I've now completed everything in the game including all the DLCs, leaving just one easy trophy left to pop, which we'll be doing on Sunday.
Do it.
Being a big Star Wars fan, I also have a pretty big collection of Star Wars memorabilia, collectibles and vintage toys. And although not strictly gaming related, I thought it might be nice, being a Star Wars Day, to give you an overview of some of the sort of items in my collection that I keep here in the games room. So let me take you around and just show you a few of the items and let me know what you think. So starting at the top here, I have a couple of Star Wars cookie jars. I have a Boba Fett plushie, and I got a Boba Fett alarm clock. Coming down, you'll see that I have a Boba Fett figure. It's probably no surprise to you, given my username, that Boba Fett is my favourite character. Coming down, there is my signed by David Prowse Darth Vader Advanced TIE Fighter vintage toy. I also have Luke Skywalker lightsaber signed by Mark Hamill. I've got a thermal detonator signed by Carrie Fisher. Coming down a bit further, I have my Jedi training remote, another little plushie for Boba Fett, and a Star Wars lightsaber mug. I also have a Darth Maul replica lightsaber, and the back there is my original Star Wars trilogy DVD box set signed by Jeremy Bulloch, who the original Boba Fett. And I have a Boba Fett Lego Star Wars head. Coming up to the top here, you can see I have an AT-AT and AT-ST. I also have a Darth Vader lightsaber replica and an Obi-Wan Kenobi lightsaber replica. Right, you see my Star Wars poster. And then lastly, I have some more Star Wars toys, and I have my Jango Fett blasters. So thanks for indulging that with me, and let's get on with the next section. So some really big gaming news this week is that GTA 6 has been pushed and is now delayed until 26th of May 2026. How do you feel about that? Let me know in the comments. My own personal view is that I'm not too fussed. I'd rather wait a bit longer, as we've been waiting long enough anyway, that if it gets pushed a few months so that it's more polished and is released with a lot less bugs, then that's got to be a good thing. However, from a purely selfish perspective, I'm actually glad that it's been pushed, because this year I've really committed to doing my Ultimate Trophy Hunters Challenge, and I'm not someone that normally buys games brand new on release date, just because I have such a big backlog of games to play. Normally by the time I buy it and get round to doing it, there's been a discount in the sales. However, GTA 6 was a game that I've anticipated in getting on release date, and then when it was announced that it was coming out sometime this year and that was going to conflict with my challenge, I was in two minds as to whether I would sort of get it or not, because once I start playing it, I'm probably going to be dedicating so much time to it, but no guarantee that I'm going to be able to get the platinum to add it to the challenge. Plus it means there's going to be a lot less gameplay on other things, so unless I had my challenge almost sewn up by the time it released, I'd be putting that challenge in jeopardy. So I'm sort of relieved that GTA 6 has now been pushed, so it's not going to be interfering with my Ultimate Trophy Hunters Challenge at all. And it means that when it does come out in May next year, I can get it on release and enjoy it at the time with everybody else.
This is the way.
So let me know in the comments, were you planning to get it on release? Are you annoyed that it's been sort of delayed, or are you happy that it's been delayed? This week's community questions come from Boggy B. The first question is, which is your favourite era of gaming? One you enjoyed the most at the time, or one you look back on most fondly? Maybe it's current gaming. Well, Boggy, as much as I do love current gaming and I'm a big trophy hunter, there's a couple of significant times that were probably the most enjoyable. One being the early days of the PS3, where every night we'll be playing Call of Duty World at War multiplayer. We had so much fun, and we were playing until 2-3 a.m, even though we knew we were having to get up for work at 6 a.m. It was just such an enjoyable time. However, to really answer your question, I think the time that I had the most enjoyment, and the one I look back at most fondly, is that golden age of video games back in the 1980s. From the Atari 2600, the Intellivision, the Spectrum, Commodore 64, Commodore Amiga. All of these systems provided so much fun and entertainment through all of those mid-80s, and it's something I don't think would ever be replicated in terms of the nostalgia that I hold for it. I truly believe that it was the best time for video games, even though the games back then were so much more simpler than what they are today, but they just had something about them. And I think as much as modern day gaming is absolutely fantastic and enjoyable, and I love the fact that you can log on and play with someone on the other side of the world that you never used to be able to do back in the 80s, I think there's something about playing couch co-op round your mate's house, or them coming round to your house and just spending those long summers just gaming away together, is something that was just so incredibly fun and enjoyable. So for me, the nostalgia is way too great for that to be anything other than my most enjoyable time and the one I look back at with most fondness. Boggy's second question is, which is your favourite console or computer and why? The age-old simple question. Well, it may be a simple question, but it's certainly not a simple answer. The reason for that is I've been gaming for well over 45 years, and I've covered gaming in every generation of home console that we've ever had. So I have so much nostalgia for so many different systems, it's really difficult to put any one above all the others because they all hold a significant part in my gaming history. But if you're going to force me to answer the question as to what is my favourite, I'm going to have to sort of cop out a little bit and just split it into two between what I would call my retro history of gaming and my modern gaming of history. So for retro gaming, I think it's going to have to be the Commodore 64. The Atari 2600 and the Intellivision were absolutely fantastic, but the leap in graphics and sound onto the Commodore 64 was absolutely phenomenal back in the day. And I enjoyed so many games on the Commodore 64. Plus it holds the sort of game that is my most favourite game that I've ever played, which was Elite. The other thing is that the Commodore Amiga came out after, and it was improved graphics, and I did play that a hell of a lot and I have a lot of nostalgia for it. But I just think the Commodore 64 is the one true gaming console computer of my childhood, that just defines my childhood. For the modern day though, I think the answer's got to be the PlayStation 3. Now, that probably doesn't surprise many people, especially as you can see behind me, I have got such a huge PS3 collection. And believe me, I think it's probably the best console to collect for at the moment, in the fact that it's still very affordable and very cheap to buy the majority of the games. However, I do think there's going to be a significant price hike in a lot of PlayStation 3 games in the coming years. So it's something I'd advise if you're interested in PS3 gaming, then get collecting for it sooner rather than later before you miss out. The reason I do think the PS3 though in the modern day was the best is because, again, similar to the retro side of things, where the jump in graphics and the types of games from the Atari 2600 to the Commodore 64, I think we saw a similar thing with the PlayStation 1 and 2 to the PlayStation 3. I think the jump between PlayStation 2 and 3 was significant in terms of the types of games we got, the graphics, the sounds and the depth of the games. And then I think from the PS3 to PS4 was not as big a jump, and certainly the PS4 to PS5 has not been as big a jump. Yes, there's been improvements of each generation, but I think the biggest jump in these modern day generations has got to have been between the PS2 and PS3. And the PS3 is just something that I just found has just been an absolute sort of goldmine of fantastic games. Now, I don't want to go into all the different games now because I'd be here speaking for another 2 or 3 hours. But if that's something you would like to hear more about, then please drop in the comments and let me know, because I'm more than happy to make dedicated videos on specific games for the PS3. I've got a big collection to go through, and if you'd like to see more on that, then please let me know in the comments and I'll dive much deeper into that console and to why those games are my favourite of all the PlayStation generations. Well, it's just gone midnight and it's May 4th. And for my ultimate Trophy Hunters challenge, I have to pop the platinum on a Star Wars game on May the 4th. And as you know, I've been playing Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens this week, and I've left one trophy outstanding to pop the platinum. So let's jump on and see if we can get that now. So the trophy in question is to kill Kylo Ren as Darth Vader. So as Darth Vader, let's see if we can kill Kylo. There we go. Took a bit more than I expected, but show me grandfather. And that's the pop, the platinum, the Force Awakens. So, what did I think of the game? Well, as Lego games go, it's one of the more enjoyable ones, I have to say. Now, am I a bit biased because of my love of Star Wars? Perhaps. But I think it's an enjoyable game nonetheless. The only downside of it is, like many Lego games, once you've completed the full story, you're still only about 20% of all the collectibles and the 100% that you need. So there's a lot of post-story grinding. You have to replay the levels and you have to do a lot of side missions. But overall, it's all fairly enjoyable and nothing complicated, nothing difficult. So yeah, give it a go. If you like Star Wars and you like Lego, then it's definitely one to try out. So taking a quick look at my PSN Profiles account, you can see that I'm now on 277 platinums. I got the platinum just a few minutes ago for Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens. If we look at my trophy log, and I'll do a quick recap of everything that's been done this week. Going back to the 25th, which was last weekend, and you can see I only had the Star Wars Force Awakens. And then coming back to everything that I've been doing this week, it's again just Star Wars The Force Awakens. I've not had too much time to play anything else this week. Other than one other game, I needed to get a very quick trophy on the 3rd of May, just to make sure I keep my trophy streak intact, and didn't get a time to play anything else. Couldn't pop the last one on the Lego Force Awakens, because obviously I was saving that for now. So I just got one quick trophy on RoboCop. That kept my daily streak alive. So other than that, that's the only games I've had a chance to play this week. Mainly because I've been very busy with the game room update and the move of the different rooms around the house. Which is coming on very nicely, and hopefully I'll be in a position to be able to start recording a game room tour very soon. So watch this space. So that's it for this week. I just want to say a very big thank you to the gaming legends you can currently see on screen who are my Patreon supporters. Supporting the channel in any number of ways really does make a very big difference and really helps me to grow the channel. So please consider dropping a like, subscribing if you haven't done so already, and I really enjoy reading your comments and reply to every single one of them. So why not let me know in the comments what games you're playing this weekend and what platinums you've been earning. If you do want to take your support just that one step further though, then please follow the link in the description for my Patreon, which gives you access to my Discord community. With all that being said though, I would just like to finally say, may the 4th be with you, enjoy your games, and please take care and look after yourselves.